Hey there, good afternoon, happy new week, Quarantine Club. How are you doing today? I just got back from a wonderful week off and in much warmer places than I am right now. It is cold. I am looking out my window. It's cold. It's snowy. Yeah, but I had a fantastic time. Just a wonderful week of fun and celebration, and part of that included food choices that normally are not things I recommend. But it was a good time. It was a vacation. It was for 1 week, and so I give myself permission to um, be a little more loosey goosey. There are times like I got a sandwich without the bread and substituted the fries for some green beans. But then there were other times where my family, there were 9 of us on the trip, and we split two things called kitchen sinks, which included things like each of them 8 scoops of ice cream, an entire can of whipped cream, every topping in the house, all sorts of syrups, brownies, cakes. It was unbelievable. And I cannot even tell you how sick I felt after that. In fact, Brian and I were supposed to go out that evening to dinner. We had this at like 3-ish in the afternoon. We were supposed to go out at like 8. We ended up canceling and moving it to the next night because we're like, there's no way we can appreciate a nice dinner after that. So yeah, there were things consumed that I don't normally do. So now that I'm back to real life, back to reality, I need to get back on track. And I thought I'm going to do things maybe a little different. In the past, I would normally choose to do a fuel cycle, which if you're not used or familiar with that in the Trim Healthy Mama world, after you've been doing Trim Healthy Mama and you're familiar with the food groups, you kind of dive down into really pure foods. If you kind of think of maybe if you're familiar with Whole 30, kind of like that, but again with the fuel separation and everything, can be a fantastic metabolism jumpstart. And I highly recommend them once you're beyond the learning phase. But so that's what I normally do. I thought I'd do things a little different this time. I thought I'd just kind of do some challenges for myself. So this week, I am doing an e-meal challenge. What that means is I am going to focus on having at minimum 2 e-meals every day. And if you're not familiar with that, that is your low-fat, healthy carb meals. So these are so important, and they really get the, kind of redheaded stepchild vibe because they're not cheesy, they're not peanut butter, they're not heavy cream. And so people are like, oh, I gotta eat my e-meals, but they can be so delicious, and your body absolutely needs them, especially women that are in that middle part of life. Our bodies need those. It is so important for your adrenals. That is controls your stress hormones. So you've got to nourish your adrenals with those healthy carbs. Your thyroid needs those healthy carbs. I have hypothyroidism, so I have to have those healthy carbs. If I kick those out, I will have problems. So that is my big complaint with a strict low carb diet or a keto lifestyle. You're cutting out those healthy carbs that your body absolutely needs. So even though they tend to not be as sexy or as succulent as those cheesy, peanut buttery, yummy meals, they can still be delicious. So I am going to challenge myself, and feel free to join me, 2 e-meals per day. Okay. Word of caution. And then so you can have 1 S meal a day. That is where you can allow those wonderful fats in. Please, please don't go super crazy on those S meals. Yes, you can have some cheese or some peanut butter or some butter, not all of it all in one meal. Okay. Don't be like, well, I haven't had any all day, so I'm going to have them all right now. No, no, no. We're still going to be moderate. We're still going to be respectful of the foods. So anyway, so in order to give you ideas, because sometimes it can be really hard to come up with the emails, for some reason, it's like an S meal. Well, cheeseburger or tacos or spaghetti, those are easy. So I'm going to try and help you out and let you know what meals I'm eating. So yesterday I had an breakfast of the Trim Healthy Pancakes. Those have been around since the very first book. So I had some good oats in that. And then for lunch, this was the first day back. We got in yesterday at about 2 in the morning. So we were all kind of dragging. So I went super easy. All right. Doesn't have to be hard. So I whipped up those Trim Healthy Pancakes. So you can find those in the Trim Healthy Cookbook. And then I also in the Trim Healthy Cookbook is the Skillet Crunch Granola. I talk about that all the time. And I usually have it over yogurt. Oikos 000 vanilla or some plain Greek yogurt that I've foofed up. So that's what I normally do. But yesterday I put in a heaping cup of the granola that I had made ahead of time. And we actually took it with us on our trip. And because the kids have now started eating it too, which makes me so happy. They really like it. So, but instead I put a half a cup of almond milk and a half a cup of water, and then I nuked it for a minute. So it was kind of like oatmeal, but it was not at all mushy. It was delicious. So I highly, highly recommend giving that a shot. I make it in at least 8 times the amount. In the book, it's written as a single serve. I don't have time to make it individually every time. So I did the math and made 8 times the amount, and I love it. And my favorite is I don't put in any cinnamon. I put in, for 8 times the amount, I put in half a teaspoon of almond extract and a teaspoon of vanilla. So it's an almondy flavored granola. And I love that. So I don't know, you can play around with the flavors and make it any flavor you want, but that's one of my favorites. So that's what I did yesterday. And then I had a cold cut sandwich for dinner. So I had my S at dinner. Today I had an S breakfast of my beloved eggs and zucchini. And then I had an E lunch, and I will have an E dinner. So I will put more information about that as we go. So that's the challenge for this week. All week, 2 meals a day, and then I will let you know if the scale moved. I don't even weigh myself that much, but I bit the bullet and I did it for you yesterday so I could give you progress. So anyway, let me know if you have questions, and let me know how you're doing. And if you come up with a brilliant meal, please let me know. So thanks a bunch, y'all. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hey, good afternoon. I just thought I would update you on the meal, your energizing meal, healthy carb, slow burning carb challenge we're doing this week. It's what I'm doing to try to just kind of reset the metabolism a little bit after a little bit of fun on vacation. And it's what our bodies need. Don't let the keto myth fool you. Your body does need some healthy carbs. So we're trying to have 2 meals every single day for a week and see how that works. So, but sometimes it can be hard coming up with it. So I wanted to let you know what I've been doing. And so yesterday, so I started this yesterday. So I did a video yesterday. So scroll down, you can see that one. And then yesterday for lunch, I had cottage toast. I've posted about this a lot because it's so ridiculously easy and yet freakishly good. So I had cottage toast for lunch. Usually we'll have that for breakfast, but we were busy, and we also had no groceries in the house, and I'll get to that story in a minute. But so we did, you basically toast 2 pieces of sprouted bread. And my Aldi lately, they always carry the Knock Your Sprouts Off brand. Lately, they've also had the Silver Hill Bakery brand. and they had them like $2 off a loaf. So it was like $1.50 a loaf for Silver Hill Bakery. So we bought, sorry, local people, I bought them all and we froze them. So we've been doing that. So toast 2 pieces sprouted bread, about 1/3 to 1/2 cup of cottage cheese on both, salt and pepper. I also like crushed red pepper on mine, but I'm alone in that around here. So, and then an apple. That was my lunch. And you know what? It is so filling, so good. So it works for breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever you need to do, quick and easy. The only time it takes is toasting that bread. And then we went for dinner. I decided to do Mexican chicken. It is a huge hit around here. And I don't make it as often because it's such a huge hit. I have to make the beans from scratch because I would have to use probably 8 cans or more of black beans. So I make them, so that's a process, you know. It's not hard, and let me know if you need help with that. I make beans in my Instant Pot all the time, but I had to cook the chicken, then I had to cook the beans. So anyway, no problem. I got that done. And then I went to assemble. And it takes light cream cheese, which normally, even though it's 1/3 less fat, I feel I can use this in the email because it's going across so many servings. You're actually not eating that much. So I went to go get the cream cheese. No cream cheese in the house. Okay, no problem. We can pivot, right? Cottage cheese. It's light and I blend it up anyway. Not a problem. We'll use cottage cheese. Okay, now we're gonna go grab the can of tomatoes and green chilies. We have no tomatoes or green chilies. Okay, not a problem. We buy salsa in a big jug. And usually I use 1 can of the tomatoes and green chilies and a cup of salsa. I'll just use 2 cups of salsa. It'll be fine. I go to grab my jug. There's like 2/3 of a cup of salsa, not 2 cups like I needed. Okay, I had 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes in the house. So I used that and I used the salsa and I grabbed some sriracha sauce and I squirted that on because it was just like, you know what? It was really good. The kids ate it anyway. And they were kind of like, wow, this looks a little different. I'm like, it's fine. It's fine. So anyway, it was still a fantastic email and I had that. So that's black beans. It also has corn in it. I'll put the recipe in the comments because it is just super quick and yummy, especially if you don't need to make the vat of it that I need to make, and you can just use canned black beans. It goes together super quick, and it's great if you can let it sit in the crock pot all day, but I usually just do it in my Instant Pot and bring it up to pressure and then down. So that's how I do it. So anyway, so they eat it with corn chips. I put it over brown rice. So you add the beans, a little bit of corn, and brown rice for a great email. And then I think I also had a mandarin cutie after that. So that was it. Super easy. 2 emails in yesterday. Yes. And I'm on track to do a couple emails again today. And yeah, when you hear tomorrow what I tell you, it's pretty much going to be some repeats. So because it's that easy. All right. So if you're not eating those emails, please start. And if you have any questions about any of it, let me know. All right, talk to you later. Bye. Hey there, good afternoon. I thought I would jump on this 3rd day of our e-meal healthy carb challenge, trying to shake up the metabolism. Don't get in the rut of only having those delicious succulent S meals with all the yummy cheese, cream, etc. So, yesterday, reporting on what I had yesterday. Today is Wednesday, so on Tuesday I did repeats of things I'd already told you about. For breakfast, I took the Skillet Crunch granola from the Trim Healthy Cookbook, heaping 1/2 cup with slightly less than 1/2 cup of almond milk, slightly less than 1/2 cup of water. Microwaved for a minute and then let it set for a little bit. If you're not an oatmeal eater, this might be one for you because the oats don't get mushy. They just get soft enough to eat, and because it's warm, and right now where I am, it's cold, it makes a nice breakfast. And how quick is that? It's already seasoned, it's already flavored, it's already sweetened. I guess not really seasoned, it's sweetened. And it just makes a quick creaminess. So I did that for breakfast. And then lunch was more of that Mexican chicken that, well, I guess, no, I had an S lunch because I went out with my husband. And then I had leftovers for dinner of the Mexican chicken that I told you about yesterday. So really no news to report. But Lisa asked an excellent question, and so I thought I would jump on here and answer because I kept trying to compose something in my head to comment on her comment. And I thought, you know what, I'm just going to ramble like I do. All right, so she asked, she had 2 pieces of sprouted bread from Aldi with some Laughing Cow and all fruit on that, some cottage cheese, which is good protein, and then half a banana. And she asked if she overdid the carbs. And here's what I'm going to say. Maybe. I didn't do the math. Bananas have, like, depending on the size, around 25 grams of carbs. I want to say the bread is like 13 a piece. It can vary. And so to figure out your net carbs, you have the amount of carbs, subtract your fiber, and that gives you the net carbs. So you don't want your carbs to go over about 45 grams. That being said, I never count. So I'm looking at that, and here's what I do know. Those of us that are slightly more mature can sometimes have a harder time when there are multiple sources of carbs in a meal. So right there you have the sprouted bread, you've got a little bit from the all fruit, cottage cheese does have some carbs, and then you have the half a banana. That might be a little much, even if it fits into the numbers, it might be a little much in just overall variety of carbs. That is something that we have to play with as individuals, okay? So if you're having the right amounts, but yet you're noticing that you're stalling, you might want to streamline how many carbs you're putting in there. So, for example, my Mexican chicken has beans and corn, and sometimes I eat it on brown rice. I try not to do like a full-on serving of that brown rice, just because I'm mindful of this. There have been a lot of podcasts lately because the author, Pearl, is just a few months younger than me. And so she talks about this a lot. So I've been very mindful that I try not to have just a lot of different types of carbs in my meal. Also, cottage cheese, dairy, that can be something else that can cause people to stall, especially if you're nursing and you're trying to lose baby weight. You might want to watch how much dairy you have. And also those of us that are in the middle of hormonal changes, aka being 50-ish. So I hope that answers your question, Lisa. I know it's, kind of a maybe. I would say you were probably pushing it. But at the same time, play with it. Sometimes have that. Sometimes maybe only do 1 piece of sprouted bread if you're going to have that half a banana with it. We don't want to get rigid. We don't want to sit there and, with a pen and pencil and calculate all our carbs and suck the joy out of everything. So it's just something more to be aware of rather than something to stop doing. So let me know if that answers your question. If anyone else has questions, please feel free to ask, and I will be talking to you tomorrow. Bye, y'all. Hey there. Good afternoon. It is day 4 of our e-meal challenge. So have you joined me with trying to get in at least 2 meals a day that are based around those yummy, slow-burning carbs that are so important for our hormones and our thyroid and helping keep us slim? So, what did Lainey eat yesterday? Let me try and think. For lunch, I think I just had more of that Mexican chicken that I've been talking about. And then for dinner, I went with the recipe from the Trim Healthy Table, the chicken double fried rice. If you have that cookbook, I highly, highly recommend that one. It is so tasty. You use cauli rice as like probably more than half of the rice, and the rest is brown rice. But it is super yum, super filling. So it's really a one pot dish because you're getting your veggies and your good carb and your protein all in one thing. So I highly recommend it. My kids love it, and usually they don't even have a clue that the cauli rice is in there. They just think it's rice. We were out of cauli rice, so last night I had to use just regular cauliflower, and both of my food processors are broken, like bits of plastic going places broken. And so I had to chop the cauliflower, and I didn't do a great job. So there was maybe a comment from a certain 12-year-old boy of like, what's in this? But normally, when made according to the directions in the cookbook, no one even knows that the cauliflower is in there, and it is so yummy. So those were my 2 emails of the day. And because I had had eggs and zooks, which you know I love those, with avocado for breakfast. Throw an avocado in every now and again with your eggs and zooks. Just slices, and then we just kind of mash it all together and eat it, and it's delicious. Anyway, so today what I want to talk about, though, is the fact that I often see this over in the Trim Healthy Mama Facebook group, people saying that they're hungry after they have their emails or they feel shaky. And some people react that way to S meals. So I think it just goes to show everyone's different. But here's how you handle it. If you are finding that you cannot go 3 hours without feeling like you want to eat somebody's left arm after having an email, try and think ahead and have an FP, a light something that you can grab at the ready. So some examples of this would be the fat stripping frappa. Those are fantastic. They're super light, and yet they make a shake that's like over a quart of volume. And so if you've gone like it's an hour and a half after you've eaten, you know you're supposed to go another hour and a half, you can have one. Now, I'm not saying do that every single time. I do believe your body adjusts. There was a time where, yeah, I would get hungry and I would need snacks. I couldn't make it. And I don't really experience that anymore. And I think it's just my body's adjusted. My body knows when it's supposed to eat and it gets hungry. Or I'll have a glass of tea or something like that. I love the shakes, but when it's cold like it is right now, that doesn't sound good because it will literally make me shiver. So there is a recipe for salted caramel oolong. I've talked about oolong tea before. It is a fantastic fat burner. And this creamifies it up and is super, super yummy. And that could be what you have. You shouldn't be fueling constantly, okay? You shouldn't be like, okay, I'm going to make a big shake for my dessert, even though it's light, and then sip on it all the way until you eat again, okay? That's giving your body too much fuel all the time. That's basically grazing, and we don't want to do that. But, so it can be actually hard to down one of those big shakes. So there's a baby version where you're only using like a quarter cup of water, quarter cup of almond milk, something like that. So anyway, let me know if you have questions on that. But the tea, a creamified tea can work, a creamified hot cocoa, some coffee with almond milk, celery with Laughing Cow, or the awasa cracker with some Laughing Cow. Those are light enough that if, you know, every now and again you need to do that in order to make it to your next meal, that's fine. That's fine. Your body will adjust. I wouldn't make it a habit multiple times a day, every day, but, you know, a couple times a week, you're fine. You know, even an Waco's Triple Zero yogurt. Maybe see if you can get by with only eating half and save the other half for later. So play with it, but I would recommend something very light, what we call a fuel pool, meaning it's primarily protein. It doesn't really have a lot of fat or carbs, and that can keep you through till it's time to eat again. So, hope that's helpful, and I will be talking to you again tomorrow. Bye, y'all.